Are we seeing God move, my friends, in this world? This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We're seeing a lot of things happen around us, and some of it isn't from God, that's for sure. And actually, we have a lot of stuff to cover in this video. We got something about BlackRock getting or purchasing key ports, or at least access to them. We'll get into that. Sort of a business move on their part. We're going to get into a ton of other stuff going on around us. We have here, of course, what's going on with the economy. We got something that Joe Rogan said. We got a big story with regards to Canada that you're not going to believe. And it has to do with Ontario. And it's sort of interesting, some of the stuff we're seeing happen. All right. And it sort of has to do with power going, of course, to the USA and them shutting it, off. We'll get into that as well. And actually, we have a ton of other stories. Also get into some funny clips and much more. Let's just start here. This is the BlackRock story I was talking about. We have here BlackRock is set to take control of key ports on both ends of the Panama Canal in a major shift. Deal includes over 40 additional ports, marking a significant expansion of BlackRock's business. This comes after months of mounting, of course, pressure from our president, who, of course, said that he wanted to get back the canal. So it's interesting. BlackRock is moving in. It shows you kind of where they're at. We see that name often. We've seen it over the last few months. Obviously not friendly to, of course, our prez. We're going to get into, actually, like I said, a ton of stuff. We have this funny clip here of a liberal who wakes up from a coma after 4 years. She apparently was at a party celebrating our previous president's, of course, win, and fell over and hit her head, and she was in a coma for 4 years. Let's see what she finally woke up in 2025. Let's see what she has to say in this video here.
He didn't feel a thing, though, but you certainly did.
Wow, I am so glad to be awake now.
You have a lot of dishes to do.
Oh, man, so tell me everything. What are things in our country like now?
Oh, same old stuff going on.
No, seriously, what's been going on?
Of course, she goes in and says, is our president, of course, in prison? And let's just play. Let me play it. I'll just play it.
In prison?
No, he's in the White House.
What? In a cell?
No, he's president.
What'd he do? Lead a militia in and
Oh my goodness. Of course, that's what he did, right? Now check this out. This is pretty hilarious.
He just got reelected.
How is that possible? Everybody hates him.
Well, while you were sleeping, that shifted a little bit. He actually won by a landslide. It's impressive.
Well, I totally thought he'd go.
She goes on and says, I totally thought he was going to go to jail. Well, actually, technically he did, right? That's what he basically says next, but of course he got in anyways. It's kind of a hilarious clip. Go check it out on JP's channel. We have a ton of other stuff going on, of course. Obviously, everyone's been talking about this meeting. Still, the meeting with Zelenskyy, or the Zelensmeister. And here we have PBD, Patrick Bet David, covering this. He's asking Andrew about it. Check this out.
I have to be careful what I say about this because I returned to the Ukrainian border on the 23rd of March, but obviously, truthfully, I'm quite outraged. The fact that even at the beginning of the clip, he had his arms crossed, which is the terrible body language. You notice at the beginning, he has his arm crossed.
Yeah.
Very petulant. I don't know where he gets this confidence from. I'm not sure if he just bought into his own Kool-Aid. I would argue that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it is kind of amazing. He did have sort of an attitude, and I guess it's probably from the last 4 years, basically everyone backing him. Now he just has this big head, perhaps, and thinks he can say whatever, do whatever he wants. Of course, now they're going on this, and that's interesting. I didn't even mention that in the beginning of this video, is that they're talking, just an hour or two ago, we had one of these representatives from Europe come out saying basically they're all fully backing, of course, Ukraine. We're talking like this could turn into something much larger, All right, and I'll show you that in a minute. But let's hear the rest of what he had to say here.
I mean, that was obviously a PR disaster from him. I am truthfully more outraged by the instant European tour that they threw together for him. And they dragged the leaders of every single European country together to treat him like a hero and run him all over the place.
Right. And of course, now, I mean, they all met together immediately. It was like a huge thing. It was Starmer from the UK bringing together his coalition of the willing. And could this help end it? I mean, really? Is this going to help end it? Really? Does that even make any sense? They're all going to back Ukraine. That's going to somehow make it end? Does that even make any sense? I don't know. Let me know if you guys think that makes sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Of course, meanwhile in the UK, we have this video, and I'm going to get into what this lady said. So this just came out about an hour ago. No, it was more than an hour ago. It was some hours ago. It was today, though. I've been researching for a little while here. I'll show you that in a second here. But I wanted to show you this first. This just shows you what's going on in the UK. It's pretty hilarious. Well, I wouldn't say hilarious is the right word, but this is the kind of stuff going on. All right. Here you have a guy who apparently didn't pay for his TV license. Apparently in the UK now, you have to have a license to watch TV. Like watch it. You need a government issued license to watch TV. I'm not joking. This is serious. It actually costs $200 a year. I mean, that's like, what is that? That's almost like $20 a month to have a license to eat. And that's not, you don't get any free Netflix for that. It's a government issued license. And check this out. This guy apparently didn't pay his license, and someone from the higher court is paying him a visit. A police guy.
Sorry, what? Sorry, what are you doing?
From High Court Enforcement.
Okay. And what do you want?
So obviously you owe £1,328.56p.
Yeah.
Right? Because obviously unpaid TV license.
Okay.
Obviously.
So did you see that? 1,300 pounds approximately, right? That's like $1,600, something like that. And again, I just told you a second ago, it's like a $200 a year. So, and they've only been doing this for like 1 or 2 years. So like, how does he owe $1,500 unless they have ridiculous late fees? Like you didn't pay it. Here's another 1,000 tagged on the end of it or something. Anyway, let's hear what the rest they have to say here.
I've come around here to collect the payment in full, or we remove goods up to the value of the 1,300.
Okay, so why are you coming to the side of my house, opening my window?
Because if there's an open window, we're allowed to gain access to the property, sir.
So you're saying that you legally can climb through my window?
That's exactly what I'm.
Oh my goodness, dude. You see what I'm getting at? Like they can just come into your house, take your TV, and do whatever they want. Take stuff in your house. You might not even be there. You find out it's all missing when you get back home or something. Because you didn't pay some sort of license so you can watch TV. Even though he says he doesn't have a TV, the guy in the video. But it's just, that's the kind of ridiculous stuff going on currently in the UK, on top of the social media post thing, which I've mentioned before as well. And this is kind of amazing too, because I saw some others pointing out how, particularly in the UK and some of these other European countries, that they're really, really busy and interested in helping out Ukraine while at the same time in protecting its, of course, border. But when it comes to their, own, they're not so interested. Just let people come, of course, across, doesn't matter. But when it comes to Ukraine, it's a completely different story. They need to immediately get together and we got to fix this problem. That sounds a little strange. Doesn't it sound a little strange to you? Of course, makes you kind of wonder who they're really, of course, serving. Then we have this here. Apparently now latest is that Zelenskyy apparently has decided, now that he's had all his money paused, everything paused, he's like, oh, okay, maybe I actually do need the USA, and is going to come to the table for peace, of course, talks. And so he's willing to sign this minerals deal. The question is, how are they going to get past this? Because they want this war to not only continue, but also expand. The reason why is because these guys at the top, they need this. If they don't get this, they're gone, okay, from their, place, I guess you would say. And they're basically gone at that point. So this month is very important for them. I don't know how they're going to play this. I'm curious how they're going to play this, because there's clearly something more than them just agreeing to some mineral rights. All right. I think there's more at play here, and it could easily turn into something much bigger. So that's what we need to look forward to in this month. Either they're going to somehow bring this to pass anyways, and not only continue it, but expand it. Either that, or it's going to completely fall apart, and they're just completely lost at that point. And then we have this story with Canada. So then we have this apparently tariffs again for Canada. And they keep putting out videos responding to this, we're not going to do this. And I got two videos to show you, actually. I got one from Ontario where they're talking about cutting, of course, power off into various places in America, in the USA. Let's play this one first, though. This is Justin talking to our president directly. And he right off the bat says something incorrectly. He says he's been working with him for 8 years, which is not true.
In the over 8 years you and I have worked together, we've done big things. We signed a historic deal that has created record jobs and growth in both of our countries. We've done big things together on the world stage, as Canada and the U.S. have done together for decades.
Yeah, you guys are just total bros. I can see that. You guys are doing big stuff together. I don't think you guys are really that friendly. I don't know. I don't think that's really true there, Justin. I don't think it's true. So, of course, putting tariffs, and a lot of what our president's doing is he's basically trying to level the playing field. For example, banks that go into Canada from the USA are considered foreign banks and are treated differently than Canadian banks. But in America, in the USA, Canadian banks can come in here and they don't have any issues. They're not deemed foreign banks. They have the exact equal rights to a U.S. bank. So that was one of the things he put on the table, one of the cards he put on the table, on top of some of this trade issue. And, of course, this is what's playing out right now. You have here, of course, another guy, leader in Ontario, talking about cutting, of course, the power off.
If they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do everything, including cut off their energy, with a smile on my face.
Okay, so markets are crashing. Stock market is crashing. The economy is panicking. People are panicking. This is insane. The trade war begins midnight.
No, this is crazy. Actually, he's kind of right. The stock market over there is panicking, collapsing. You have, of course, also our GDP is fallen quite a bit of recent. And a lot of it, though, I think is not our current president's, of course, fault. I think actually a lot of it can be contributed to our former president because they were counting the numbers a little different. For example, they would count a government job equal to a private sector job. This is not true. A government job is like a car payment. Okay? The government job makes no money. It is paid for by you and I. The American taxpayer pays as an expense for government jobs. It's not a wealth creator. It makes no money at all. It sucks money out of our pocket. It's like a car payment. But they were counting it like it was helpful. This is great for the economy. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. And of course, now our current president is trying to bring back private sector jobs. Here you have Scott Bessent talking about this. Check this out.
We're reprivatizing the economy, and we are going to have private sector jobs. We're going to do that, obviously, be in the energy sector. We are going to have smart, safe, and sound.
So in the energy sector, obviously, because they're going to be drilling, of course, for oil, bringing jobs in through manufacturing via these tariffs. We already have numerous jobs coming back to America. I've shown the picture before. I can actually show it really quickly here. It's a ridiculous amount of companies already coming back to America, coming back to America. Here we go. You have Ford, Intel, Nike, Tesla, actually quite more than this. U.S. Steel, Generac, Power Systems, Lockheed Martin. Actually, I can name a few that's not on this list. John Deere, Stellantis, formerly Chrysler. Opening, I think Stellantis is not even on the list, and they're opening 3 more plants in America. And it's that's huge. That's colossal. And it's not even on the list. It didn't even make the list. Okay, you have, what was it? Apple, $500 billion over the next 4 years. That's not even on the list. I mean, there's like 1 million companies coming back to America. Clearly, there's going to be some really awesome jobs in the very near future in America, clearly going to be producing a lot more for the GDP. No more of these fake numbers. Oh, government jobs. Ooh. I mean, they're not real jobs when it comes to making money and making us have economic power. Okay? This is the thing. It's like if you understand economics, you don't think the government jobs are doing something beneficial to the economy. I don't know why people don't understand this. It's very simple to understand. At any rate, there's that. So then we have, of course, The View. Joy Behar apparently losing her mind over, of course, Mr. X, as I call him. Check this out.
Kisses his butt and strokes his tiny ego or big ego, whatever it is. Well, the guy was not born in this country, who was born under apartheid in South Africa.
So he's born under apartheid? So is this some sort of like original sin?
Has that mentality.
Right. So obviously what's interesting about this, as I call him as Mr. X, she said he's got a big ego, tiny ego. I don't know. It doesn't matter because this is all feeling-based commentary. It's like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what the facts are. You know, she's like, he's a big ego, little ego. I don't care. Whatever. I don't like the guy. This is kind of the feeling-based commentary. It's not really based in actual, what is your real complaint about the guy? Do you understand what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, this is the whole point. Joy Behar needs to pay attention to what is actually occurring before commenting on these things, because clearly cutting out government waste is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. We had former presidents doing this. This isn't the first time this has happened. This has happened before. Not even that long ago. Back in like 2008, it happened. Okay, so this is not new. This is something that, of course, this time they're really, really cutting out the waste on a bigger level. Okay, there's a lot this time, much more than last time. But, I mean, at least this isn't something new. It's just that certain people are not getting their freebie money anymore. That's what's really going on. Oh, and then they're the ones complaining, and then these guys are chiming in, following along, saying the exact same thing. That's what's going on. Now, of course, what's interesting is you'll see a lot of these people, you have Chuck and Elizabeth here, both saying the exact thing, word for word on video. And it's not just these two, it's actually lots of people all saying almost verbatim the same lines. Where did they get these lines from?
Presidency, prices are not down, they're up. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The prices of groceries, gas, housing, eggs, of essentials is not getting better, it's getting worse. Meanwhile,
so it's almost word for word. Very, very close. Maybe they kind of slightly modify it the way they say it so it doesn't appear to be like the exact same thing being said, but actually it is still the same thing. It's just slightly modified. And apparently there's a lot of people doing this because all these people almost said the exact same thing. It's so bizarre. And it reminds me of those old videos where they'd have like all these local, news stations and they all say the exact same thing. Oh, it works pretty well. That's why they do it. And then we have this here. We have some bizarre lights in Sweden. I don't know what this is. Who knows? I don't know. I thought it was really bizarre looking because it made me think of sprites, right? But that's not what this is. But it kind of looks like it. It has the same look to it, sort of. So I don't know, but I don't think this is that high in the air. It doesn't look like it's that high in the air. It's probably just some sort of light show or something. I don't know what this is, but it's really bizarre. A lot of people in the comment section are like, I don't know what it is. They're all just guessing random stuff. Vikings on mushrooms or something like that. I don't know, man. Then we have this one. This one's really bizarre as well. I mean, check that out. Like, what in the world is that? We have all these bizarre things showing up. I saw another one like today. It came out today. I don't have it in front of me, but it was like a triangle, a red glowing triangle in a city. I think it might have been New York City. A red glowing triangle just sitting in the sky. How many planes look like red glowing triangles? How many planes look like this? Do you know any planes that look like that? You know what I mean? Like, seriously? This is like happening all the time now. You got all these really bizarre things being seen in the sky. And we still don't have an explanation to any of this. We still have no explanation to what this stuff is. And maybe we're just gotten used to it. I mean, honestly, is it normal to get used to this? Because this was something that used to be really rare. And people could like question, like, oh, I don't really believe that. Now it's like everyone sees it in the sky and it's like a red triangle, like, oh, whatever. Who cares? You know what I mean? That's what it's become. It's like, bro, once we start seeing them walking around, like after a while, oh, whatever, just an alien walking around, who cares? You know what I mean? This is kind of what's coming next, I guess. I don't know. So we got that going on. Then we have this video. I thought this is pretty hilarious. What happened in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve? We'll get into that. And we're going to get into actually a number of other things as well. Let me play this really quick.
Women, I think I learned exactly how the fall of man occurred in the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, and Adam said one day, wow, Eve, here we are, at one with nature, at one with God. We'll never age, we'll never die. And all our dreams come true the instant that we have them. And Eve said, yeah, it's just not enough, is it?
No, that's not funny.
I was just waiting for more.
Well, that was kind of his point.
Dude, that's so funny, dude. She didn't understand the joke for some reason. I don't get it. Yeah, well, it is kind of true. She did offer him the fruit, right? So I don't know, man. Maybe that was kind of what was in her mind. You know, it just isn't enough. Just need a little bit more. A little bit more, right? Now look what we have. We have insanity all around us. Instead, that little bit more didn't turn into a little bit more, a lot less and a lot worse. But then we have this. I saw this show on Amazon. I started watching it. Looks pretty interesting so far. I don't know if you guys have checked it out yet, but you got House of David on Amazon Prime. Pretty good show. But looking at all the stuff going on around us in the world, you can see it's becoming more and more clear what's going on. You can see the devil working in the background against God in our society. And I believe, you know, I've talked about recently about this whole thing where the Aeon, of course, of Horus, which Crowley talked about, and he described this like 100 years ago, what it will be like today, and it is very accurate, where people get rid of altruism. Altruism is where you think of others before yourself, you're giving, kind. Instead, we've turned into a very selfish, individualistic sort of society, and we got rid of the concept of sin. We have no purpose anymore. This is what he says in this thing. Get rid of consciousness of sin, possess no purpose of its own existence, can't persuade it to submit to incomprehensible standards, suffers from transitory passion, absurdly sensitive to pain, and that is indeed the case. People just can't function because a certain person now is, of course, president. That's an example right there. Okay, and this was described 100 years ago. And who was saying this to him? The devil was talking about what he wanted in 100 years, which is exactly what he got. What's interesting, though, is part 2 of what the devil wanted apparently is failing. So part 1 came to pass. Everyone's hyper individualistic, selfish, don't care about anything about myself, and what can I do today? That did come true. However, Part 2 of his plan has not come true, unfortunately. Well, actually, fortunately, that's the good news. The fortunate part, fortunately, it didn't come true, right? We're supposed to go from the age, of Horus to the age of, I'm trying to remember what it was called, Thelema, something like that. Yeah, however you say this word here, Themist. That's what it was supposed to go to. Which, by the way, we were starting to go there. It was supposed to be an age of justice. Social, of course, justice. That was part 2 of his plan, which of course is completely backfired, as you've seen with movies. Right now, I just saw a story about Rachel Zegler. Now is on an apology tour because of her outbursts and saying things that apparently her fans don't like, a lot of woke stuff. And she's concerned about her movie, Snow White, if it will do well or not. So she's going around on an apology tour because she saw what happened to Captain America. Captain America, which, by the way, wasn't really, from what I understand, that bad. But because everyone's been turned off to this whole social, justice thing, they're not going to the movies. And so this failed. His part 2 failed. But part of his part 2 also was to turn us into a sort of an Egyptian race. Okay? Think of everyone, we're talking, of course, mixing together. This was the plan. And we're seeing it, of course, in Europe. So this is stuff that was, and you can see kind of like Europe is still on that plan, phase 2 or part 2 of it. We're like off it now. We're like, no, we're not doing any more of this crazy stuff. We're going a new direction. We're starting a new thing, which I believe is from God. And now you're seeing them going against each other, and that's what all these stories are. For today, that's kind of my video. I'm kind of wondering what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.